Hello and welcome back to The Fruit of Grisaia, Amane's route. In the last episode, Yuuji finished reading Amane's diary from the time that she was stuck in the valley where her basketball team crashed. On that team was also Yuuji's older sister, Kazuki. However, Kazuki gave her life, presumably, so that Amane could live. We now return as Yuuji have finished reading. So let's continue. This is one hell of a story. I raised my eyes from the diary, reflexively staring up into Amane's face. Her eyes are downcast, her mouth twisted sorrowfully. Hey, Yuuji, you know what happens when you throw a bunch of cockroaches in a jar without any food? Cockroaches. From what I've read about them, they're incredibly durable creatures. They can last for weeks without food, sometimes cannibalize each other. And the cockroach that got out of the jar alive, the most durable, most disgusting cockroach of all. I can't find anything to say. I'm so sorry, that must have been terrible. I've gone through something similar myself. The comparison would be unfair, the paths we followed to that point were far too different. Even so, I understand. Thrown abruptly into a rain-soaked hell without adequate food, unable to imagine what tomorrow will bring, your physical and emotional strength are slowly whittled down. The ones wobbling on their feet have a week, the ones sitting 5 days, the ones lying down 3. The ones that can't speak 2, and the ones that can't blink will be dead before the sun sets. At some point you've lost the energy to dig graves for your companions. You sleep next to the rotten corpses of your friends. Hell on earth. Precisely because I understand, I have no words to offer her. I seek refuge in the tattered diary in my hands. Returning home as the only survivor of that horrific accident, my reception wasn't what you'd call gentle. The media widely discussed the incident and its miraculous survivor, spicing up the articles with a barrage of thoughtless and downright cruel speculation. While never publishing my actual name, many twisted limited information to suggest my survival had come at the cost of my humanity. I was the social problem of the hour. When I returned to school after recovering my physical strength, a classmate thrust a weekly magazine in my face. It was open to a gory photograph of the crash scene as it had been discovered. Hey, this corpse. This is Hiroka's face, isn't it? Poor girl. So tell me something. Were you the only one who survived? Everyone else died. Why are you the only one who came back? Of course, at that age, the gruesome and bizarre have irresistible pull. At first, the word might have been nothing but curiosity, carrying no ill intent. At first, they might not even have realized their own casual cruelty. But that first question opened up the floodgates. Soon, the entire class was hurling questions at me, mostly for their own amusement. Hey, you ate them, didn't you? Base speculation always runs along predictable lines. Better the titillating fiction than the complicated truth. How can she live with herself? It makes me want to puke. I wouldn't have done it in a million years. Some things are more important than staying alive. I'd rather starve to death. Just seeing her face makes me lose my appetite. I hope she transfers soon. Soon they spoke with undisguised hatred. My denials fell on deaf ears and I stopped even trying. In their eyes I was a cockroach, a vicious, durable insect. Inside the confines of the killing jar I had killed my own kind to survive, and now I had crawled back to safety all alone. It quickly became impossible for me to attend school normally. Before long, a special classroom was prepared for me to study alone. The administration's attempt at resolving the problem was half-hearted and passive. Essentially, they isolated me from my classmates, leaving my former homeroom teacher to take care of any problems that might arise. But since their main concern was minimizing further disruption, the choice made sense. Unfortunately, that teacher was a kind woman who offered me warm encouragement. It's alright, as long as you're alive you can start again, as many times as it takes. I'm here for you, I'll be here as long as it takes, so please keep trying, okay? Her words pulled me through some of the blackest days. She was right, my survival had come at the cost of many sacrifices. I had to keep going, for the sake of those who had died and for the people who still believed in me. But eventually I was made to realize these innocent thoughts were founded on nothing more than childish naivety. Half a year after the incident, I moved up to the next grade and a new homeroom, and the teacher who had treated me so kindly abruptly stopped her little therapy sessions. Her attitude changed, the sympathy left her eyes. In the end, her kindness has been nothing more than a professional mask of an adult doing her job. That realization hurt me more deeply than any of the lies or insults ever had. After yet another day of isolated misery in an empty classroom, I returned home to find the words "Cockroach Nest" scrawled in huge letters across the side of my house. My mom was crouched beside the graffiti with a bucket and brush. Tears in her eyes, she desperately tried to clean it off. Her teeth were tightly clenched as if to keep the sobs inside. They made her cry. They made my stout-hearted mom weep as miserably as a child. Hit by a wave of inexpressible, overwhelming sadness, I fell to my knees on the spot. Is other people's misery really that much fun to you? The reality had nothing to do with it. They weren't even trying to look at the truth. All they wanted was an interesting story, and my suffering seemed to be highly entertaining to them. I could endure the slander and abuse, but at this rate I would end up becoming a blight on my own family. I simply couldn't take any more. What did I survive for anyway? This? If I had just died with everyone else in that valley, none of this would have happened. I wanted to turn back time. I wanted to go back into the ravine, to redo it all from the very start. I could see nothing in my future, so I fantasized the past. Even so, I resigned myself to the present. I accepted the ridicule and ostracism of those around me. I stepped over the bodies of my friends to save myself. Surely I needed some punishment for that. Of course, no one was going to object to my suffering. It was the least I deserved. I could prostrate myself weeping in front of my friends' graves all I wanted, but no one was going to forgive me that easily. Until I had suffered more than those who had died, no one would approve of my continued existence. This was my punishment for surviving. I accepted it. I knew that I couldn't expect clemency, but even so I desperately needed someone to give me the hope that it might end, that someday I might be forgiven. Self-loathing was my only means of atonement, and it was a feeble counterweight against the sin I was committing with every breath I drew. I was gradually driven into a corner. How wonderful would it have been to run from it all, to shed the weight of what I've done, but the punishment for surviving was impossible to escape. I had no choice but to bear it. I tried to be strong, I tried to act cheerfully in the face of it all, but it was so very hard. The slightest smile on my face would inspire condemnation. How can she laugh after what happened? If I ran away from their words, they'd condemn that as well. My crimes would never be forgiven. Every once in a while I dreamed at night. Always the same nightmare. Always in the same place, the depths of that hellish jungle. In the gloomy forest, the girls from the basketball club sat on the roots of the trees, still and quiet. One by one they slowly died. The corpses lay against the trunks of the trees, swelling up with gas like gruesome balloons. Their faces had been bloated from the start by their severe malnutrition. Soon it was impossible to tell where the eyes had been. Eventually their mouths creaked open and the gas inside their bodies began to leak out into the humid air with a sound like a ghostly moan. Before long those faint sounds would become voices. Amane. Amane. Help me, Amane. I don't want to die, Amane. It hurts so much, Amane. Why only you? Why, Amane? Why won't you help me? Hey, Amane! I'd lost count of how many times I'd woken up screaming in the middle of the night. Going to sleep had become terrifying, but even awake I could hear the voices whispering in my ear, the voices of my friends calling my name. When I turned back, there was no one. Even so, I heard the whispers, constantly. Asleep or awake, someone was always cursing me. My guilt was ever present, crushing. I had no refuge. In time, I lost the ability to distinguish between reality and my dreams. Even awake, I screamed at phantoms. Sometimes I thought about just dying, but I couldn't commit suicide. If I took my own life, I'd be branded for all eternity as a coward who fled from the punishment her action had earned. Maybe someone would be so kind as to kill me instead. A random, violent death at another's hand might well be my only possible salvation. If someone killed me, I could escape without having fled from my responsibility. If someone would only punish me. Yes, that was it. Every time someone harassed or tormented me, it felt as though the weight of the sin on my shoulders grew a little lighter. If I could live my life entirely for someone else's sake, maybe someday I'd be forgiven. But for that role, I needed someone who would punish me for the sin of surviving. So that when moments of happiness found me, when I laughed, I could simply offer a silent apology to the dead. I needed someone who could give me an excuse for when the voices whispered in my ear. I needed an answer to their resentful curses. See, I'm getting exactly what I deserve. I absolutely needed that. In the end, I wasted years and years of my life waiting for someone who could bring me that hollow, self-serving comfort. And then, a man ideally suited to impose my penance appeared. Kazami Kazuki had sacrificed herself to save me, and he was her brother, her only surviving family. I'm sorry for keeping it a secret all this time, Yuuji. The truth is, I'm a pathetic coward who survived by sacrificing your sister. I'm so sorry. Still staring into my eyes, Amane sniffles miserably. I see. My body feels as stiff and wooden as the words coming out of my mouth. It takes all my effort just to nod. I understand some sins can never be forgiven. No matter how many times we apologize, the dead can never come back. I always wanted to tell you, to apologize, but I just couldn't. After the accident, I actually went to Kazuki's house, just once. Thought I'd tell the whole truth to the family. Even if they didn't believe me, even if they blamed me for everything, that'd be fine. But I always wanted to give them an apology at least, so I finally worked up the courage. But Kazuki's house was empty. When I asked the neighbors, they told me the parents had divorced a full year before and had been vacant ever since. They told me the family broke apart because of Kazuki's death and that accident. I destroyed your family. When I thought about that, I got so scared, I couldn't manage to tell you. True enough, Kazuki's death was the catalyst of my parents' divorce. But what came after, the real disintegration of my family, that was inevitable. My father's death and my mother's suicide were inescapable, fated events. Amane had nothing to do with any of that. And either way, making her into a scapegoat won't change the past. So when I first met you, I decided, since I'd stolen your sister from you, I could at least be a stand-in for Kazuki. That was all I could think of. I knew that I couldn't possibly replace Kazuki. I knew it was just a convenient way of escaping my guilt, but there was nothing else I could do for you. So I told myself, at the very least I'd go along with anything you asked, become a kind big sister who never says no. If that meant kissing and all the rest, I didn't care. Even if you asked for much more, I didn't plan to refuse. I'd absolutely never complain, no matter what you did to me. When you wanted something from me, I'd give it to you. I was ready to sleep with you from the start. What did it matter? I gave up on my life itself in that forest. I'm only breathing because Kazuki took my place. Since I'm not your real sister, I thought I'd compensate by doing the things she couldn't do for you. Hold on, Amane. I want to make sure I'm clear on something. In other words, you approached me out of the sense of responsibility, not any romantic feelings. I'm not going to get angry about it at this point. Give me the honest truth. Honestly speaking, it's not like I hated you, but I wasn't head over heels either. Can't really say I love you. I thought that being a convenient woman for you might be kind of a penance. I knew that was far too light a punishment for surviving, of course. But even so, sleeping with you always made me feel a little better. Every time you held me, it felt like the sin I carried with me was growing lighter. You were just a tool I used to bury my guilt. I see. A convenient woman like that is obviously too good to be true. So this is the source of that unease I could never manage to shake. This is why I couldn't get rid of that lingering doubt, always squirming in the back of my mind. I don't know many women prone to falling in love with virtual strangers. Over time, I'd halfway convinced myself Amane was just a special case. But as I suspected from the start, there was something else behind all that. You know what, though? I'm sure you won't believe a word I have to say at this point, but I really did fall in love with you. That's no good at all. It's hardly a punishment if I love you, right? All of a sudden, the nightmares, the hallucination, the voices started coming back. They're all cursing me. You're taking all the happiness for yourself yet again. I knew I needed a stronger, much stronger punishment. I knew falling in love with you was wrong of me, but I did it anyway. I know, no matter how much I love you, I can't drag you down to where I'm going. I have to go alone, but I still... Every night I told myself this has to be the last time. I told myself I'd tell you everything, put an end to this, but still... When I woke up the next morning, I'd start thinking, just one more day, I'll break it off tomorrow. I just kept putting it off over and over. I was afraid. I wanted to tell you, I'm the one who left your sisters to die. I had it on my tip of my tongue so many times, but if I said that, I knew you'd leave and never come back. I left Kazuki to die, and no matter how much I apologize, she's never coming back. But I'm sorry. So in other words, she went in reluctantly, but now she's pretty much enjoying herself? In the first place, why are Amane's romantic feelings the first thing on my mind here? My sister, my family, all that is just a messy, ugly pain in the ass. In the end, I think I'm much more concerned about what comes next. At times like these, the fundamental strategy is to hear out the woman's story and throw in a few vague responses here and there, but I think I may need to say something pretty soon. Hey, Yuuji?
Yes?
Would you kill me?
Say what?
I can't think of any other suitable punishment. This was the only path I had to forgiveness, and it's ruined now, so I guess I can't do anything but have you kill me now. I'm sorry.
What the hell are you talking about? Have you gone soft in the head?
Owie!
You expect me to kill someone who squeals like a piglet over a single chop to the head? Don't make me laugh.
Ow, I'm sorry.
And that's another thing. Stop with the damn I'm sorry, will you? I can't stand that phrase.
Those were the final words my mother left for me before her suicide. Utterly empty, barren words. Words of surrender. Every time I hear that phrase, I remember myself the way I was. I remember my failure, my inability to act. My chest throbs painfully.
First off, don't try to mimic Kazuki, alright? I only had one sister and she's gone now. Oh, what, do you enjoy ripping open my old scars or something? This I'm sorry chorus of yours is putting me in a lousy mood.
Wow,
I'm telling you to stop that, idiot. I mean, weren't you Kazuki's classmate? Did you ever tell you not to say sorry so damn much? Very well then. Allow me to increase your repertoire of phrases, you mush-brain parrot. Repeat after me. Thank you.
Thank you?
Every time you feel a sorry crawling through your throat, change it to a thank you, before it gets out of your mouth. That's your punishment. Don't even think about dropping your apologies on me, arbitrarily deciding you've been forgiving and flying off into the night. Got that?
I'm an idiot, so I don't really understand. What do you mean by that?
You really are a dim-witted woman, you know that. Ah, god damn it, how am I supposed to explain this? Christ, I'm just as dim-witted. Let me think for a while. You're a distraction woman. Go sit on your heels and reflect on your idiocy. I'm going to get my thoughts together.
On my heels?
Sit.
Woof. To be honest, so much just got dumped on me all at once that my head can't keep up. What am I supposed to think about all this? First, there's Amane's past. Not to put a too fine point on it, but I don't give a shit. From what I read in the diary, she did nothing wrong. Kazuki's decision was understandable. I probably would have done the same thing in her place. If anything, Kazuki's at fault for enjoying that nice heroic death, leaving all the messy, angsty business of surviving to her friend. For one thing, I'm still not fully convinced Kazuki would die as easily as that. But either way, that's not the problem. The past is the past. Nothing can be done about any of that now. You can spit out as many what-ifs and if-onlys as you want, but unless you're using them as reference for next time, it's a meaningless exercise. The only thing that matters now is what we do next.
Amane?
Yes, what can I do for you?
All said and done, you love me. Yes? Confirm or deny?
Yeah, that's right. So, well, thanks.
Very well. Sit.
Woof. Amane says she loves me. So how about my own feelings on the matter? I've thought them over many, many times. I'm pretty damn sure by now. I love Amane. I'm a bit ashamed to say it, but on a purely practical basis, I doubt there's another woman in the world as convenient as her. Then again, is that really all there is to it? As I fold my arms in thought, I find my eyes have come to rest on a beautifully folded work uniform. My job is pretty rough on the clothes. They snag on thorny bushes, rip against walls, and drag along the ground. More often than not, I come back with a number of holes in my uniform. It was only a few days ago that I realized those holes were being repaired. Out on a job, I happened to glance at the elbow of my uniform, where a torn seam had neatly been stitched back together. A colleague, noticing as I stared at the bureaucratic careful needlework, asked, "Your wife sewed that up for you?" And the words, "Yes, so," slipped out of my mouth. Startled by my own reply, I thought long and hard about what Amane was to me. While wearing the clothes she mended for me and stuffing my mouth with the lunch she packed for me, I pondered the matter. What about Amane had I fallen in love with anyway? Her looks? True, she was definitely an attractive woman from any angle. The long hair and nice scent didn't hurt either. She accepted everything I did without a word of complaint, and she was up for anything, anytime. But at the end of the day, I don't think that had much to do with it. I can't express it too well, but what really stood out was the way she mended my clothes without a word. And the way she always made lunch for me. Right, she always did so much for me. Amane worked as hard as she could to make one dull man's life a little less miserable, and it made me happy. Even if Amane had been unbelievably ugly, I would have fallen for her. By the same token, whatever happened in the past, I'm not going to stop loving her.
That feeling isn't going anywhere, no matter what.
Huh? What?
Nothing. Shut your trap, I'm still thinking.
Okay. Still sitting ramrod straight on her heels, Amane's face droops like a pouting puppy given the command to wait. Studying her comically forlorn expression, I move on to consider the final problem. I could simply tell her you are forgiven on the spot, but there's no way that would resolve the issue. If anything, my forgiveness might well inspire her to go looking for a new punishment, driving her to erratic, even dangerous behavior. In that case...
All right, Amane, the matter has been decided. On your feet.
Hold on a second, my legs are numb.
Right then, I'll help you up. Here.
Yeah, thanks. There we go. Okay, so, what should I...
I've thought this over pretty carefully, but let me make one thing clear first. I don't intend to take pity on you because of your past.
Right.
Everyone has a regret or two. It's a natural thing of being alive. That said, I also understand yours is a particularly complicated, painful one. Telling you forget it or don't worry about it would be a waste of breath. Remorse that deep isn't just going to stop tormenting you. You might well end up carrying it on your shoulders for the rest of your life. And this idea that your current good deeds can somehow redeem you for what happened in the past is a load of self-serving crap. You got no choice but to receive your punishment for the rest of your life. I'm not really old or wise enough to say that's life, like some sort of authority on the matter. But at the very least, I think I'm better accustomed to living with suffering than you. Therefore, I will now arrogantly throw my conclusions in your face. Accept it gratefully.
Oh, okay.
You asked me to kill you just now, right?
Yeah, I did.
Not attached to your life?
If you want to take it, I'll offer it to you.
I see. Alright, I accept. From this moment forth, you're going to live the rest of your life for my sake.
Huh?
It's just some crappy life you've picked up off the ground in the mountains, right? Can't be worth that much to you. I'll take it off your hands.
But...
What now? You have a problem? Too bad. You gave your life to me so I can do whatever the hell I want with it. You have no right to complain.
Well, so... Wait, what? I'd really appreciate a slightly more clear explanation.
Nothing to explain. Nothing's really going to change. Just keep doing what you're doing. Live for my sake. Devote yourself to me. I'm the king. You're my pet dog. Got it?
Nothing's going to change? What do you mean?
Do you have a wad of marshmallow fluff for a brain? Fine, I'll put it even more simply and rudely. God damn you, how dare you leave my sister to die? I'll never forgive you. You're my slave for life, understood? If you understand, bark like a dog, you filthy mutt.
Woof!
Amane, stay with me for the rest of your life. That's your punishment.
Wait, so it's really okay if I stay with you?
I just answered this question. Not only can you, you're going to. I'll smack you silly if you try to disappear on me. Keep that in mind.
Yuuji.
What now?
Yuuji.
Spit it out already. Also, I'm not a submachine gun.
Wah!
Whoops.
Yuuji. Wah! Yuuji.
You know something? You always make this ridiculously ugly face when you cry.
That's terrible. At a time like this, let me cry if I want to.
There. Okay, this is getting annoying already. I'll allow you 5 minutes maximum.
Why, Yuuji, you're so mean.
If I was nice, it would hardly be a punishment.
As Amane breaks down into tears, I wrap my arms around her and hug her tightly to my chest. There's only one way I can save this woman. And it's not by trying to break the curse of her past. I'll simply accept everything. Knowing her past, knowing her trauma, I'll accept it all. I'll provide her with the punishment she needs. There's no other way. Someday, Amane will surely come to understand. The only person she needs to ask for forgiveness is herself. Until then, I'll be a burden for her to bear. I'll ease her guilt. I'll be her punishment. I'll offer her forgiveness, even if no one else in the world does. No matter what anyone says, I'll give her absolution. If I simply stay by her side, someday her penance will reach its end. I know it will. The day will surely come when Amane can forgive herself. And that's where we'll end this episode. So we shall see how the new life is going in the next episode. So until then, take care.